Top dragster final qualifying. Going to roll out at us now. Again, Comp Eliminator needs you to the lanes, please. Competition Eliminator looking for you to the lanes is Randy Dahlberg. The Colorado runner over here on the Napa side of the racetrack. And Phil Dion, 73 years young. Paradise Valley, Arizona-based runner. Tom Yancer built Hot Rod. Number 5 qualifier. He's been 619 best. Cool evening air. The warmth of the racetrack. This should be an interesting session. Dion, 638, 234, 671. Dahlberg picks up 400ths of a second. His 671 lap at 200 miles an hour now plants him in the number 19 spot on the qualifying sheet. Phil Unruh, your number 1 qualifier. Afton Swanson, the Hemi Hunter. The Inksane Custom Graphics, Spitzer chassis car. The runner-up last weekend over in St. Louis, up alongside Matt Driscoll. I do believe it was Matt she ran in the semifinals to gain her berth in that final round. Driscoll, your number 4 qualifier, to 618. After number 6 qualifier, to 626. Swanson runs through 610, 227 miles an hour, 619 by Driscoll. Afton moves up to the number 2 spot on the qualifying sheet with that run. 619, no help for Matt, so he will move back a notch from number 4 to number 5 as Afton moves around him. Dusty Meyer and Les Feist rolling in next. Les would love to get a good run down this racetrack right now. The Minnesota-based runner, reigning division champ, has had problems. Had him yesterday during test and tune, had problems first run this morning. Dusty Meyer's ride's been 725 and 727. And he currently sits number 24. This looks like he may have finally gotten some bugs worked out of that car. 626. 225 miles an hour, I do believe is going to do it. 719, Dusty picks up as well. Les Feist with that 626 moves up to the number 7 spot. Now on the qualifying sheet. Moves everybody back a notch R2. Dusty Meyer now number 24 on our qualifying log. Ed Dudley up on the right-hand side. Edward coming off the win at the Mosier Shootout. Jimmy Sakovich rolls in. Your number 3 qualifier, the Proline Racing entry. 614. He's also been 5.999. And that 5.999 gets you a warning, telling you not to go that fast. You can't go faster than 6 flat. Sakovich is 610 lap at 245. 626 by Dudley. Both drivers improve. Sakovich goes 610 with a 4. Based on speed, he will slide into the number 3 spot behind Afton Swanson. Rodney Frazier and Kendra Larson rolling in. Ed Dudley improves to the number 8 spot with his 626 lap. Rodney Frazier and Kendra Larson. Kendra over there on the right-hand side for Pro Blast and DMP. Sits number 25, 7:33. But we're looking at everybody, virtually everybody picking up here in this session. It's the cool evening air and the warmth of the racetrack combining to give everybody a pretty good shot. Rodney Frazier's not going to do it. Kendra's not going to do it. She's out of power before she gets to the other end. 9:20 by Kendra. She'll stay number 25 on the sheet. Frazier's going to coast across 15 seconds later, and he will stay number 15 on our qualifying sheet. Keith Neiman, the Flying Monkey Racing operation for the firefighter out of Wichita. Keith also trains firefighters at the blown 396 combination for Flying Monkey Racing. And your number 12 qualifier over here on the left lane, the Napa Auto Parts side. 6:37 the dial by Neiman. Slatton out of New Mexico over there on the right-hand side. Hold to make sure we get everybody off the top end of the racetrack. Slatton, number 18 qualifier, has been 6.66 at 203 miles an hour. Again, Comp Eliminator, you should be in the lanes. Comp Eliminator needs you in the lanes if you're not there yet. And we need our APD, Top Sportsman, to the lanes now. Please, Top Sportsman, need you to the lanes. Come on down. Slatton cruises through 660. His best run by 600ths. 640, Neiman's falls off a couple of slots. Or a couple of hundred. He'll stay number 12. Slatton 660 moves him up to the number 17 spot. Bob Henry, 635, 218 miles an hour. Bob had a run that had all the numbers till just before he got to the finish line when one of those tumbleweeds earlier today went tumbling down track and tripped the timers for the air gas. Hot rod over here on the left-hand side. Don Kritzky, out from St. Paul Park, Minnesota. Sits number 4 to 616. Henry right now, number 11 with that 635. $6.25 by Bob Henry at 223. $6.13 by Don Kritzky. Kritzky moves up to number 4 with that 6:13 lap at 220 miles an hour. Henry 6:25 moves him up to number 7. So it's pretty much expected and anticipated. A little bit of shuffling going on here in our final qualifier for our top dragster field. Phil Unruh still leading the pack. We haven't seen Phil as of yet. J.R. Loebner rolling in. Steve Johnson on the right side for Fine Line Graphics. J.R. Loebner on the left-hand side. A couple drivers down in the bottom half of the qualified field. Not going to work for Steve Johnson this time. He shakes and rattles. 675, 200 miles an hour by JR. Loebner picks up 0.05 of a second. Now sits number 21. 675, 200 miles an hour by JR. Loebner picks up 0.05 of a second. Now sits number 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. 21. Steve Johnson will stay number 18. Jeff Coron and Lloyd McClure. Top Sportsman, need your lanes, please. Top Sportsman. Looking for you to the staging lanes, please. Top Sportsman, come on down. Jeff Coron, left-hand side. Jeff trying to get this puppy down into the 6-second zone. If he's ever going to do it, now's the prime time. Lloyd McClure on the right-hand side. Coron still with some problems. You can hear him on and off the throttle. Goes 748 at 177, 874 by Lloyd. He too having some issues getting from point A to point B. So Lloyd will stay 14. Coron stays number 23. Phil Unruh stays number 1 and elects to sit out the session because I do believe our final car getting ready to make its lap now on the left-hand side. So it's Unruh, Afton Swanson, Jimmy Sakovic, Don Kritzky, Matt Driscoll, Phil Dion, Bob Henry, Les Feist, your top 8 qualifiers so far. Is Robbie Gear. Been locked in the mid 7-second zone, 7:52 to 7:46 for the CarsProtectionPlus.com. Backlot Cars entry out of Lee Summit Mo. Top Sportsman, need your lanes, please. Top Sportsman. Do the lanes, come on down. 696, 188. There's the run Robbie Gear was looking for. Robbie moves up with that 696 lap to number 23. So it's Phil Unruh, Afton Swanson, Jimmy Sakovic, Don Kritzky, Matt Driscoll, Phil Dion, Bob Henry, and Les Feist, your top 8 qualifiers. Then comes Ed Dudley, Chris Vang, Larry Piper, Keith Neiman, Brian Gaines, Lloyd McClure, Rodney Frazier, Scott Cusey, rounding out the quick 16. Cop Eliminator, final qualifying, getting ready to come up. Justin Hutto and Christine Harris. 16-car field. Justin's B Dragster Automatic for the newly licensed Cop Eliminator runner. Justin, a former winner on the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series Tour, doing it with his big block Corvette. 20-year-old youngster out of Spring, Texas. Hot rodding this B Dragster Automatic, and Christine over on the right-hand side, the wheel of the W&H Manufacturing Pontiac Grand Am. Little G altered for our winner out in Denver to start off our 2018 campaign on the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series Tour. She'd love nothing more to put a wrap on the 2018 season with a win here at Great Bend to close out the Division 5 Lucas Oil campaign. Right now she sits number 11. Been 44 under with an 860 lap. 707 by Justin, his best run of the 2 down the racetrack. Top Eliminator, build it. Racing. Dragsters, door cars, big V8s, little V8s, 6s, 4s. 814, 184 by Justin, no improvement. 855 at 157, Christine improved. Now 49 under the index, picks up a couple spots on the qualifying sheet. It's number 10 right now, but we're just getting started with this session. As much as we saw the shuffling around of our Madcap race engines, Fine Line Graphics top dragster field, pretty much expect to see the same thing here in Comp Eliminator. Shuffling from top to bottom. Matt Harris is de-altered up on the right-hand side, the Cobalt. Bodied entry for the runner out of Nebraska. Currently your number 6 qualifier. Coming out of Amarillo, Texas, the Duco Driveline entry, C Econo car. Little 300 cubic inch combination. Off and running, trying to improve on a 784. Barry definitely looking to improve on a 754. Barry picks up a 10th. Goes 744 to 175. 780 by Matt. Matt picks up 0.04 of a second. Sits number 4. Barry picks up a 10th of a second. Now sits number 7 with the C Econo car. The Duco Driveline entry. Terry Teasel, your number 1 qualifier, set out session number 2 after going 828 this morning to put him 67 under the index. Darren West over on the right-hand side, the Wesco Rentals. Little Dodge Neon, F-altered automatic. Sits number 12, 40 under the index with an 822. Been consistent in the low 820s. Right now is a good time to pick up the pace. Hightail it to the other end of the racetrack. Darren getting a little out of the groove towards the center stripe. Steps off the throttle. He'll go 898 at 110. 848, 154 by Teasel. So Teasel shuts it off down at the other end of the racetrack. Does not improve. And West, after drifting towards the center stripe down there about the half-track mark, we can see the taillights on the Neon wiggle just a little bit. And Darren says, nope, enough's enough. It was on a good run. Just a little bit out of the groove, though. When you get one tire in and one tire out, well, let's just say it's not where you want to be. John Kyler's a dragster automatic. John gets one final shot at qualifying for the first race. He has been up twice. The car has yet to leave the starting line. The A Dragster automatic for the runner out of Colorado Springs. Right now we have a 16-car field. Dwayne Robeson sits number 5 in that 16-car field. Kyler's gets down the racetrack. It's going to be a 17-car field and completely change everything around for everybody. So Kyler is certainly a spoiler right now. Guys sitting there thinking, well, you know, got a 4-round race tomorrow. Well, here comes John. John just wants to get down the racetrack. John just wants to qualify, have a shot. Kyler's will be on the sheet. He rolled the tree, stepped off the throttle. 747, 179 by Dwayne, but Kyler's will go on the sheet with a 919 lap at 115 miles an hour. And we now have a 17-car field. Again, Top Sportsman needs you lanes, please. Top Sportsman needs you into the staging lanes, please. Will Hatcher is your number 17 qualifier. Will has made 2 launches off the line, and the car has failed to be cooperative. 512 cubic inch, big chassis craft chassis car. for the runner out of Santana, Kansas, and Fry and Associates. The right now race operation is Steve Basgall, C. Econo dragster. Here on the left-hand side, Steve sits number 14. 32 under, not exactly where you want to be with the Augusta, Kansas-based machine. Like to be down in that 50 under range. For Basgall, that means he needs to be down in the mid-750s. So far, the best he's been able to find is the high 760s. Hatcher right now just wants to get down the racetrack. Anything is better than nothing. And the car once again lurches off the line. Hatcher's going to start from the bottom of the field, 762. Basgall does improve, but only 600ths of a second. So that'll put him 38 under the index. Hatcher coasts through 14 seconds later. Basgall's going to stay number 14 on the qualifying sheet. Hatcher's going to stay number 17 in our field. And Bob Baldwin, the super modified entry for the Baldwin brothers out of Colorado. The B&B Automotive and B&B RV. D super modified Chevy Cavalier or Chevy Camaro here on the left lane. The boys making a run over from Strasburg, Colorado. I saw the trailer here. Obviously, needing to get a few people here. John Maritex, a nostalgia dragster, the Brighton, Colorado-based front engine car out of Neal and Parks chassis shop. Frank Parks, I'm sure, listening in via D3 TV and the internet. Son Scott here helping out with John's hot rod. Big Sky Energy machine, number 8 qualifier in this field. Robert Baldwin's going to get one shot. Where's he going to be? We'll have an 18-car run through Comp Eliminator. Maritech goes 706, 178, no help. 887 by Baldwin, 151 miles an hour. That'll put Robert 27 under the index and number 15 on the qualifying sheet. Maritech will stay number 8. Jim Greenhack rolls in. TheRaceCabinet.com. C-Tech manufacturing machine out of Schofield, Wisconsin. Number 3 qualifier. Greenheck having a very good year. Riding high in the national point standings. Looking for a potential division championship as well. Pat Nahan, another one of the cars here this weekend that causing owner, driver Pat and Mike Nahan to utter a lot of words like golly gee and son of a gun. Car has not made a good lap down the racetrack. 843 index, should be down in the 7-second zone. Best they've been able to muster is a 9.6 second run down the racetrack. Little 6-cylinder Ford powered Neal and Parks chassis entry. Obviously some gremlins in the Nahan camp, or in the Nahan car, I should say, in the camp, trying to figure it out. Ooh, that's looking a whole lot more better. Yeah, baby, that's looking a whole lot more better. 793 at 164. There's the 7-second run they were looking for. 828 at 125 miles an hour by Greenhack. No improvement. He'll stay number 3. Nahan makes the move from number 16 up to number 11. So Christine and Darren and Justin and Steve and Bob and John and Bill all get bumped back a notch. As Dave Rampy rolls in. Rambo for Skillman Chevrolet. Patterson Elite Performance. Runner out of Piedmont, Alabama. 99 NHRA National Event Victories. Picked up number 99 last weekend over in St. Louis. Hauled the car down to Patterson Racing Shop down in Augusta, Kansas. Stripped it down, pulled the engine, went through the engine, freshened it up. put it all back together. There's a great video of it online, and it's all set in fast-forward motion. Chad Vogus, a little four-cylinder, 32 Bantam over on the right. Chad, your number 9 qualifier. Whoa, Chad, where are you going? Gets a little out of the groove and up towards that right-hand wall. Chad lifts. Rambo goes through 730 at 179 miles an hour. So Rampy picks up 0.07 of a second. David out to the number 5 spot in our 18-car field. Chad, number 10. Based on his 772 lap from earlier. Goes 11:15 this time around. Doug Giono out of Grand Forks, North Dakota. The Lucas. Front wheel drive. Sport compact machine. Little turbocharged, 4-cylinder Chevrolet. Doug looking to get down the racetrack, make it a 19-car field. Smiley's double B altered, the blown big small block over there on the right. Turbocharger, supercharger. Whoa, hang on. Doug drifts a little bit to the left. Gets kind of close to the wall. Left before the tree was activated and will get no time. Smiley goes through 735 at 186 miles an hour. So Doug, in a valiant effort, makes the run down the racetrack, but leaving before the tree is activated, gets no time, and therefore will not be in competition come mañana. So Terry Teasel in the I-Car machine stays number 1 for our comp eliminator field. As we wrap up our qualifying, and they will get ready for round 1 of eliminations tomorrow. Top Sportsman getting ready to come up next. Our APD Top Sportsman category. Much like we have seen in comp and Top Dragster. Expect to see some shuffling of the qualifying sheet. Jeff Staub and Kirk Pipke rolling in next, former division champ. Pipke out of Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, John Woods Performance Center. Number 21 qualifier, Jeff Pontiac here on the left-hand side. St. George, Kansas-based runner. Sits number 22. Staub and Kirk working their way down the racetrack. Pipke going through 7:24. That's a nickel improvement. 7:70 by Jeffrey. That's slowing down a little bit. Kirk now number 19 on the qualifying sheet. Jeff stays number 22. Heads up in the pits, boys and girls. It is cleanup time. If you missed a run today and need to make a cleanup run, if you missed a run, if you've had all 3, you're done. Thank you very much for playing. If you missed a run today or got tumbleweeded down at the other end of the racetrack, lanes 2 and 3. Clean up lanes 2 and 3. If you missed a run today or got tumbleweeded and need a cleanup run, lanes 2 and 3. Clean up to lanes 2 and 3. If you missed a run or had a tumbleweed blow through the timer down there on the left-hand lane. Lanes 2 and 3. It is cleanup time. Monty Weaver, Jeremiah Van Deventer. Jeremiah on the right-hand side, the wheel of his Mustang. Monty at the wheel of the Corvette, the Pro Charge. Hot rod. Weaver hustling down the racetrack, 647. 218 miles an hour, his best lap, 693. Jeremiah falls off a 10th. Weaver, 647, moves him up to number 5 now, the qualifying sheet. Jeremiah, number 12, 693, no help on his earlier 683. Doug Woody. Doug would love to get a good lap down the racetrack and go into race day tomorrow. Feeling a whole lot more better. Straight Line Motorsports, Camaro here on the left-hand side. Independence, Missouri-based runner. Doug's car has been under his ownership and under his driving expertise for nigh on to 30-plus years. Super street car, super gas car, super comp car. Top sportsman entry. He's made laps in all of them. And the Camaro is always tough. Dave Slatton's Colorado-based Pontiac over there on the right-hand side. Dave, the engine builder out of Fort Collins. Currently sits number 10 with a 677 good run. Doug Woody has yet to make a good run down the racetrack. And sits down at the bottom of the qualifying sheet. Only he and Dustin Miller residing at the bottom. And Doug making a little bit better run this time around. Yep, 730 at 192. He'll take that one and feel a whole lot better sleeping tonight. 674 by Dave. He'll stay number 10. Doug moves up from number 29 to number 22 on the qualifier. Kelly Land's Corvette out of Amarillo and Rick Wilson's Camaro out of Independence, the Will Paving. The asphalt and concrete businessman over there on the right-hand side. Your number 3 qualifier at a 637. 210-mile-an-hour run. Haven't seen Rick at the wheel of the car in several months. Good to have him back out on the track with us. Kelly Land up from Amarillo. Gorgeous 63 Corvette split window machine. Kelly currently number 21. About a second difference between the two going down the racetrack so far in qualifying. Rick with a 637, Kelly with a 725. Let's see what they do in this final qualifier. Rick was trying to be quick. Car got to moving around a little bit on him, got a little out of the groove, shuts it off to a 762 at 126. Kelly goes 724, his best run. He'll pick up 3 spots on the qualifying sheet. Move from number 22 up to number 19. Your Topeka Nationals champ, your Norwalk Nationals champ, Dusty Meyer, and your reigning division champ. The wheel of the Overland Tow, Chevy S10 here on the left-hand side. 818 cubic inches of big Sonny Leonard belt power. Greg Lair over on the right. The Buick and GMC dealer out of Canyon, Texas. Greg Lair sits number 7. Dusty Meyer sits number 17. And as we've seen in Top Dragster and Comp, the field's shuffling around a little bit. Everybody trying to get their game face together for race day tomorrow. Lair's car launches, moves left towards the stripe. Rusty Meyer goes 7:01 at 195, picks up a couple hundredths of a second. Lair's going to cruise through 13 seconds later. Dusty's run picks up a couple on, but he's going to stay number 17 on the sheet. Greg Lair will stay number 7. Benjamin Board, your number 1 qualifier, came out in the second session earlier today. Fired up the HP lubricants. Chevrolet Camaro got that ProCharge Brad Anderson combination. Took a rocket ship ride all the way to the number 1 spot. Went 6:07. 230 miles an hour. Rick Bowman's ride over on the right from Metro Harley Davidson. First generation Camaro bodied entry. Rick sits number 16. Woo, Benjamin, 5:97.6. 237 miles an hour. That, boys and girls, is too quick. 694 by Rick Bowman at 200 miles an hour. Chris Minks rolls in, 7:47. Minks on the right out of Minnesota. Big motored Camaro. Ooh. Rattle, rattle, thunder, clatter, boom, boom, boom. 7:21 by Connolly. 7:88 by Christopher after that shake and rattle off the line. Connolly's truck, 7:21, puts him number 19 now, 210 miles an hour. Minks no improvement on his earlier 7:47. So he'll start out of the number 24 qualifying shot. Jeff Connolly does what he needs to do. Chris Minks does what he needs to do. 2 more cars out of the burnout box. We get ready to continue on. Dustin Miller and Terry Pope. Terry, who's had an aborted run today in his only decent run, a 7:92 lap. Dustin Miller, 2 problem-plagued runs. But I got to tell you, the Oldsmobile keeps going a little bit further down the racetrack on each lap he makes. And it looks like Terry Pope's got problems. Starter signals Dustin Miller that it's only you, son. They're going to push Pope's hot rod backwards. And pushing backwards rather than driving forwards is not a good thing. It looks like it'll be a late night in the Pope camp over in the pit area as they try to figure out what's perplexing that Chevy Cavalier. Meanwhile, Dustin Miller hopes they've got what's perplexing the Oldsmobile fixed. Hot diggity, boom diggity. Oh, what you do to me. 725, 187 miles an hour, and that'll make him smile. Much better for Dustin as he moves up to number 22 on that 725 lap. Cruising down at the other end of the racetrack. Makes the bend down at the top end, and we get ready for the next pair. Rob Mercier, the runner out of Thunder Bay, Ontario. Todd Stahlbomber out of Seneca. And again, cleanup lanes 2 and 3. If you missed a run today, if you've had all 3, you're done. Thank you very much. If you missed a run today or had a tumbleweed blow through your timing run, lanes 2 and 3, cleanup session. Final call, cleanup lanes 2 and 3. Mercier goes through 693 and 195. No improvement for him. 753. Stahlbomber picks up a couple. That 753 lap is quickest. He now sits number 27. JJ rolls up on the right-hand side of the racetrack. J.J. Eber, the runner out of Colorado, and Kearney Garage, all Ford all the time. That 2006 Mustang, 600-plus cubic inches. A blue oval for motivation. Well, I got to tell you, that was a little bizarre. JJ's car just kind of exploded off the line. Got down there about 400 feet and went pop, pop. I didn't even hear a snap or crackle out of it. We just got the pop, pop. No Rice Krispies for JJ. Shuts it down to a 979 lap, 86 miles per. Kyle Camp going to make a run down track. The Morris Trucking, Indiana-based Firebird, currently your number 13 qualifier, 687 on his one good run down the racetrack. See if Kyle can pick the pace up a little bit here. 683 goes 400 better at 196 miles an hour. Camp stays number 13, albeit he improves a couple of hun. Warren reminds me that the last time we heard from Kyle Camp, he contacted us. He was sitting in Budapest, Hungary, watching D3 TV, wishing he was where we were rather than where he was. Yeah, we were in Bowling Green, Kentucky, in Budapest, Hungary. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, something like that. Yeah, he was losing sleep watching D3 TV. But we're glad to have everybody on board. I'm sure there's some folks around the world watching D3 TV. Losing a little bit of sleep right now is Jeff Sutherland and Alan Firestone. Roll in. Firestone over on the right-hand side, the Oklahoma runner. Out of Elite Motorsports. Off like a rocket ship. 661 the best for Allen. Goes 642. Hello. Picks up a couple of 10. 779. Sutherland picks up a couple of as well. Firestone into the number 5 spot. Sutherland sits number 29 in our field with that 779 lap. But you know what? When you're in, you can win. Because all we have now is a very quick, very fast bracket race. Doc Freischel and Lester Johnson. Lester got caught up with a parachute on the 55 Chevrolet down track earlier today. They've been thrashing madly to get the quarter panel reattached down at the other end. Are back in the pit area. The quarter panel was pretty well ripped off the car. And that is your number 2 qualifier, 618 at 225 miles an hour. Doc Freischel's Firebird here on the left-hand side. Larry ain't scared, 617, 226 miles an hour. Been thrashing on the car, doing everything they can to put it back together, and he runs his best run of the weekend, 617. Stays in that number 2 spot behind Ben Board's 6-0 run that he ran earlier. And J.R. Loebner, the man who is certifiably hot when it comes to top sportsman racing. 758 and 753 out of his Oldsmobile. JR, a couple of wins on the National Event Tour, a couple of wins on the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series Tour, and JR knocking on the door of what he hopes would be the RacingRVs.com Top Sportsman Championship this year. Doesn't have the quickest car, but the man knows how to run it, dial it, and drive the stripe. $749 by JR. That'll be his best run of the weekend. Loebner now 26 on the sheet. 749 at 179 miles an hour. Derek Ake and TJ as we roll into our cleanup session. Both these drivers affected by some tumbleweed a little bit earlier today. Get our cleanup runs taken care of. Got 4 cars. This will set the field. We'll get the stock eliminator ladder figured out. 11:16 by TJ. 11:41 by Derek. Derek number 7. TJ number 47. Chris Knudsen, C-stick car, making his run down the racetrack. 11:17, 97 miles an hour by Chris. Jeff Cheney and Wade Samuel coming at us now. Cheney out of Minnesota, the undercover chassis car here on the left-hand side. Wade on the right for Ideal Car Star. Final pair of Super Comp cars. Cheney will motor through 9044 to 159, 9044 to 176 for Wade. Looks like one super stocker to make his way down track. That'll be Gene. Got here late, didn't get all the runs in. So Mossbeck, Super F automatic, 64 Savoy. (10:38), 125 miles an hour. Mossbeck's best run of the day. So that'll set our super stock field now. And one, a Sportsman motorcycle, Phil Yates. Phil's sitting number 6 right now with his earlier run of an 11,000th reaction time. 4 of them have been made. Yates goes trip, zip, 0, perfect. He'll move up to number 2. And a 9:28 lap at 137 miles an hour. And that, boys and girls, is that. Qualifying, time trials in the books. Race day begins at 8:45 tomorrow morning. Super Street, you will be out first. And we will run 2 eliminations tomorrow night and crown our champs for race number 1. On behalf of everybody here at SRCA, and of course the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series on the National Hot Rod Association, I want to thank our 500 or so racers that are here this weekend, those of you that made it out to take in a little racing activity, and everybody listening in on D3 TV. On behalf of SRCA and Lucas Oil Drag Racing, thanks, everybody. Good night. We'll see you in the morning. 8:45, first flight, Super Street. See you then. Good night.